everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. This is my third live today into the group. So if you're in our group, please join us. If you're not, if you're seeing this on another channel, please go to repositioner.com/society to join our CEO Society. It's a private Facebook group. We're telling you right up front, you have to have six figures plus to be a member. We're building other stuff for members who are less than six figures and have five figures and moving to six figures. But for now, this little group is for six figures and up. My name is Chala Dinkoy. I am the CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert. This is my little jam that I do every Tuesday. And here we go. This week, we are talking about silent, soft no's in selling. And I call them silent, soft no's because a lot of the times when my clients come back to me and they tell me about, or I hear a recording, they send me a recording of their sales conversation, they don't even know that they were, rejected because it was said so silently and softly. So what is a silent and soft no in sales? Well, you remember a couple of weeks ago when I talked about 79% of leads don't close. So it's really, I mean, these statistics change according to the category, the industry, the skill, and of course the price, right? I mean, I was certainly closing a lot more business when I was selling, much less programs than I am for my multiple five-figure programs. But the whole thing about the silent soft no's is anything that is not a yes is a silent soft no, because very, very seldomly will anybody go and say, once you've told them your price, once you've had a sales conversation with them, very seldom will someone say, no, thank you. That's just not for me. It's seldom. It happens, but it's seldom. Most of the time, here are the things that you will hear. I've made a whole list of them because I've heard them all. Believe me, I've heard them all. And what you can do about it. Now, how do I know so much about selling? I never sold as a part of my job when I worked at Pepsi, Pizza Hut, Frito-Lay. I had some sales training from when I was a student because I used to sell cemetery property by phone. I was a telemarketer. And before that, I sold other things. I sold ad space by phone. So I was a huge telemarketer. So and you can imagine for that kind of a position, they didn't really train us that well. I was a student. I mean, I was doing this when I was like 15, 16 years old. So you can imagine it wasn't exactly the best training ground, but where I did learn how to sell my services as a coach, I paid the top sales coaches in the United States and all the way from Canada. And I paid top dollar money that I couldn't afford at the time, but I borrowed, begged, stole whatever I had to do off my credit cards, and I paid for that. And with one of my coaches, I sent him for over a year recordings of my sessions and of my sales conversations, and he would help me figure out what went wrong or what went right, where I was falling short. And now I do that for my clients, and it's transformative. It's really transformative. So if you're a client and you're watching this, send me your sales calls if you haven't already. But if you're looking to improve your sales close, I mean, my niche is finding your niche and messaging and branding and positioning. But if you can't sell, once they come to you and they ask you, well, how much is it? Well, then what are you going to do? Then I'm not going to be able to deliver what I promised, which is increasing your sales. So of course I've taken all that training and I use it myself and I teach it. So that's why I'm doing this Tuesday tea time about the silent soft no's and how to overcome them. Because I really do feel after hundreds, I mean, I used to have like 150 sales calls a year. And that was the formal ones. The informal ones, I didn't even count. Now, because of COVID and because of Zoom, I think that's about doubled. And because I have 3 podcasts, I'm not kidding. It's about doubled. So it's great. I mean, things are good. So I feel really qualified to teach you how to overcome these silent soft no's and how to recognize them. Okay. Enough said, right? Enough said. Okay, let's take a sip. And by the way, it's not tea. This is my supplements that I drink. It's kind of tart because I think I put too much vitamin C in this. So anyway, the first one is when you ask for the sale and we'll go into another time of how to even do that. But, and typically I don't ever ask for the sale. It's always something softer, like what are the next steps, and which of these packages is the right fit for you, whatever it is, whatever that transition sentence is. If they say, I'll think about it, it's the number one thing that I hear, and it's the number one thing that I say. Even though I teach sales, even though I have done so much studying about sales, when I want to say no, I say I'll think about it, because it's the softest way to let someone down. It really is, you guys. Now, when I don't want to buy a service, or I'm not sure about that, most of the time I'm pretty sure if I'm not going to buy that service, and I'll say I'll think about it. It's just a soft way to let them go. But if they're good at their job, here's what they're supposed to say. Well, when someone says that, here's what I say when someone says I'll have to think about it. I say, when someone says that to me, it's usually because I haven't been able to answer all their questions. What question have I not been able to answer? Or you can be more blunt and direct and say, what aspect specifically do you need to talk about? And would you like to talk about it? So if they don't want to talk about it, if they really don't want anything to do with this, you just let them go. I mean, there's no killing a dead horse, right? But there's no beating a dead horse, or whatever that saying is. But if they are still, they're just afraid and they're willing to talk about it, then you can guide them and coach them through the fear to actually buy the service that they came to you in need of. So because I don't look at sales as sales anymore. I look at it as something they need. And in my job, I meet people almost, like I meet, I don't know, at least two, three new people, business owners, every day, every single day. And I know that I can help them in some way to make more money. I do, no matter what level they're at and what industry. I absolutely know that. And I believe that in my heart. So when I'm actually offering them, and if they've actually asked me how much it is, it means there is a serious consideration to hire me if they've asked, right? And if we've had a qualifying conversation, and if we've discussed how we can help and all those things. So if they're at that point saying, I'll think about it, I will push back and say, what specifically do you need to think about? Okay. So that's why it behooves me to hold their hand through the fear of buying, if they're actually willing to let me do that, because then they can actually reach the goals that they want. So it does a disservice to me and to them if I don't overcome their soft no objections. Number two soft no that I hear is, I have to wait until I make more sales. And it is really the biggest cop out, because if they could make more sales on their own, they would have already. So that's what I point out. And I say, do you think if you could have made that happen already, it wouldn't have already happened? And would you be in this position to be actually needing to talk to me or needing my services? It doesn't always work, but it really does, say it like it is. It really does position what you're doing as the solution, which they don't have. And if they don't have the solution, they're never going to get to where they need to get to. So it's just a way to open up the conversation about the real objections and the true fears. Another one that I get a lot is, I have to wait until X project is finished. So one of the things that I discover when people are giving me, I have to make more, I have to wait until I make more sales. So the I have to wait until I make more sales is more about mindset, right? It's about the scarcity of, they don't have the money to pay you and they need more money in the bank before they pay you. But when I think about all of the coaches that I hired, even at the beginning of COVID, when I had zero income coming in, and I had no real hope or even prospect of any guaranteed income, I had to rely on all of the mindset training that I did up until then to be able to go out and invest the most amount of coaching dollars in my business than I did even before, when I first started. So it's a mindset issue there. And once you start to talk about mindset, and once you isolate what the actual no is about, then you can address it. So getting back to the wait, I have to wait until this X project is finished. So, I mean, it could be one that they don't have the bandwidth. One, it could be that they don't have the dollars, they don't have the time, whatever it is, they don't have the manpower. Try to find out if that is true. And if it is true, I still try to get a commitment of some sort, because if they've decided that you are the right person, 100%, it doesn't matter if it's 2 months from now, or if it's now, or if it's 3 months from now, they will still, make some sort of a commitment. They will give some sort of a down payment, and they'll start some sort of a contract dialogue. But if they're using that excuse as an excuse, if they're using the project as an excuse, then there's not a lot of urgency. So what I usually, how I overcome that is, I talk about urgency and I ask, how urgent is this? It sounds as if this project is more urgent. What will happen if you delay, getting new clients or whatever it is that you need to do by 3 months? So, that's why I want you guys to be really keen listeners about what is the true objection. Is it that they're not sure about you, so they're using that as an excuse? Is it that they really don't have the bandwidth? Or is it that they're scared about something else? So try to find out the objection and overcome it by pointing out the cost of the delay. Okay. Soft no number 4 is, I have to talk to my business partner or partners. Now, I feel that the due diligence is on you, and you failed if you didn't come to this original meeting without finding that out, where you should be asking who else would be involved in this decision. And if you haven't done the due diligence to ask that and get them to that meeting, then you are going to be faced with this all the time. Now, having said that, sometimes these business partners pop out of nowhere. When I first asked the question, who else needs to be in the meeting, nobody comes clean and says, oh, it's me. And then all of a sudden, when, $30,000, $50,000 is at stake, when they're thinking about spending that kind of money, these business partners pop up out of nowhere. So what I do then is I ask for the business partners to get on a call together, because it is true that it's supremely unfair for the business partners who don't know me from Adam to agree to giving me a multiple 5 figures to fix their marketing and, change their lives. So it makes a huge difference when you're able to get their agreement to meet all on the same page, so that you can find out what their concerns are, what their vision is, and then you can overcome their objections, all in the same room. All right. So another version of having to ask someone else, which is another soft, silent no, is I have to talk to my spouse. And so one of the ways that, for example, I closed a multiple 5-figure client last night, and the spouse was a decision maker in the purchase. And I actually asked for permission to join his number to our call. And I added his number to our call, and we had a 3-way conference call where he asked me all his questions, and I overcame all his trepidations, his objections, and we started working this morning with the client. So always try to talk to the spouse. In fact, try to hit it off. If again, ask that question, who else needs to be involved in this? Who else will be a decision maker? Will any family members be a decision maker? Will anybody else need to be in the conversation? Okay, try to head that off. Now, number 6, silent no, is I'm not ready psychologically. So that's an interesting one, because if they're not ready psychologically, they're not really going to do the work, right? Especially in sales and marketing, it's all based on in my work at least, it's all based on, first of all, the CEO has to be involved in the strategy, the business owner, in creating the strategy, and then they have to be mostly the figurehead in implementing the vision, the visibility part. So if they're, for whatever reason, not feeling up to the task of doing either outreach or visibility, then, I really don't want to work with someone like that. So if that's a really silent, soft no, that's the one that I might take. But I will push back again, because I see my role more as a coach. And even if they go off and hire someone else, and I've brought them closer to hiring someone else like me that they needed help from, I've still done my job. right? I want to give someone value by meeting with me, even if it's just a sales conversation. And so, because I want to leave them better than I found them. So when somebody says I'm not ready psychologically, I ask for permission to probe that and I challenge it and I say, well, what's going on? How is that going to affect your results? And what is at stake for you if you delay these results, if you delay working on what you said you need to work on? And then we talk about the consequences of status quo, of not doing anything, of delaying things. So once these things are brought to the fore, sometimes the prospect will be able to, you might be able to hold their hand through the fire, as I call it, of the fear of the objection and walk them through it and walk them to the other side. So, but always ask for the permission to talk about it because again, this is not about a sale. It's about a partnership and a relationship where you're starting to help someone, at least in my profession of coaching. And I'm a business coach and I'm a consultant, but it's still, I need their permission and their help and their cooperation and their participation to do my job. And if they don't do their job, I don't do my job. I can't do my job. I can't help them succeed. So in my case, that being ready psychologically is really key. So that's what I need to dig down into and ask for permission. So this I have two more. Number 7 in the silent soft nose is still talking to others who do what you do. So what they say is we're still talking to others right now who are your competitors, and maybe they don't come out and say it, but they say like we're still interviewing people. When I used to do interviews, like for jobs, when I used to work in the corporate world and I would go and interview for jobs, one of the things that I had learned from actually a career coach, an interview coach, was the golden question. So at the end of the interview, and I actually use this in business presentations, in capability presentations, when we're doing sales presentations. But the golden question is, after the whole meeting's finished, the one question that you ask is there a fit? So then you shut up. You don't ask anything else. That is like the golden question. And whoever speaks first. So if you are so uncomfortable with the silence, because there's a big silence, then you lose. They're not going to hire you. If they break the silence and they speak first and they say, yeah, there is a fit, or they say we're still interviewing a lot of people. So that gives you a huge clue. If they're saying they're interviewing a lot of people, it means no. Most of the time it means no, or you're going to be a backup or second choice. So that's what I, have found in sales as well. If they're saying we're still interviewing a lot of people, they're either, okay, fine, they're doing their due diligence, but if they're not giving you the next meeting, if they're not giving you some buying signals in terms of asking for the price and payment terms and when you could start, like those things are huge tells of a silent, big, fat no, is we're still interviewing others, especially if they're interviewing others and they don't want to meet again. They don't want to talk about next steps. So remember, never leave a meeting without a meeting. Always get a date to get a date. Always, always, always have a next step. All right, so the last silent soft no is when they say, I have to reflect on it, I have to digest this, I have to process this, I have to meditate on this. I mean, I've heard so many different versions of this, but you guys, honestly, those people, they never convert. So if I were to leave it that way, it would never convert. But I always push back, I always challenge, because that's my training, right? And again, I ask for their permission and I push back gently and I say, specifically, what do you have to reflect on? Specifically, which part will be the biggest part that you have to digest? Which part is giving you the most trouble? Where are you getting stuck? Which is the sticky part? I mean, there's a million ways to ask it, right? So, and then if they're willing and if they give you the permission to continue to discuss, then you can take it and then, drill down into what is it a money, mindset issue? Is it an actual money issue? Is it a project issue, time issue, self-confidence issue? Is it, conflict with a spouse or conflict with a partner issue? There's all sorts of things that can come out, and you will know how to address them once the true thing comes out. And really, the objections, the real sales conversation I've heard say only starts after you ask for the sale. So after they ask how much is it, and after you say the price, that's when the real sales conversation begins. Okay. So I hope that was helpful, you guys. I mean, I'm literally doing 3, 4 sales conversations a day now. I'm so blessed. I'm so, so lucky. I am really, really grateful to all my team and all you guys, all my networks, and anybody who listens to anything I have to say and actually uses it and, tells me about it. And I'm often so, surprised when people are, oh, I watched your Tuesday tea time. Oh, I watched your podcast. Some people go nuts and stream them day in, day out. There's not too many of those, but and that's not my mother. My mother doesn't even watch any of this, but I think she just got tired after 9 years of watching all this. So yeah, that is the Tuesday tea time with Chala. So you guys go out and do some sales, and then if you get some silent soft no's, you know what to do with it. Let me tell you about the masterclass that's coming up. It is my 90-minute free education on the lead gen masterclass. We're doing it again. It's on June the 24th at noon Eastern. It's for 90 minutes. It's for free. And please go ahead and sign up at repositioner.com/lead gen, all one word. And what we're going to teach is, as usual, how to find the right target, how to find the right positioning, how to find the right message, how to polish your elevator pitch based on that message, based on that niche, and then where to find people to sell to. I cannot wait to do it. I can't wait to see you. And leave me a comment if you think this was of any use. All the best, everyone. Take care.